So let's go ahead and go back on the record. Um, is Byung Kim here? Mr. Kim, if you would come forward to the table. Please have a seat, sir. So we're here on the record before the Acupuncture Board for the state of California in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Byung Chang Kim, aka Brian Kim. It's agency case number PRRL-1A-2017-18, OAH number 2017-060-431. My name's Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. Counsel, could I take your appearance for the record, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. John Gatschet, G-A-T-S-C-H-E-T, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General's Office.
Good afternoon, sir. And, sir, you're Byung Chang Kim? Okay. And, Mr. Kim, I know you requested a Korean interpreter for this hearing. That was originally scheduled for this morning. Unfortunately, there was a scheduling issue, and the interpreter has left. So we are going to continue your matter to another day, and so what will happen is staff will give you notice of the continued hearing, like you received notice of today's hearing. So when the continued hearing is scheduled, you'll get notice by mail, okay? And then that way an interpreter can be present to assist you. All right, and I apologize for the inconvenience. Okay, and so just in a moment, the court reporter will have a form for you in case you want a copy, okay? And let's go ahead and go off the record. So is Jia Wang here? Sir, if you'd come forward. All right, so let's go ahead and go back on the record. We're back on the record before the Acupuncture Board for the state of California in the matter of the petition for early termination of probation of Jia Wang, agency case number PETP-1A-2009-147, OAH number 2017-060-433. My name's Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. Counsel, may I take your appearance for the record, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. John Gatschet, G-A-T. There's the enforcement coordinator.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. And sir, are you Jia Jai Wang? Okay. And sir, I understand you have a Mandarin interpreter with you this afternoon. And Mr. Interpreter, if you'd please state and spell your name for the record.
Check Richard.
And Mr. Sheck, if I could have you stand and raise your right hand, please, I'll administer the oath to you. Swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will use your best skill and judgment to make an accurate and true interpretation of the proceedings of this hearing from English to Mandarin and from Mandarin to English?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. All right, Mr. Wang, just to kind of let you know procedurally what will happen is first, Mr. Gatchett will give a summary overview of the prior discipline and then introduce some documents. And then you will have a chance to provide testimony under oath. And then after you provide your testimony, Mr. Gatchett will have a chance to ask questions. And actually, let me back up. Mr. Gatchett, I think you mentioned Ms. Brothers was going to provide some testimony. Okay, so we'll have Ms. Brothers provide her testimony. And then if you have any questions of her, you could ask questions. And then after that, we'll have you provide your testimony. And then after you're done testifying, Mr. Gatchett will have an opportunity to ask questions. And then you'll have another chance to provide any additional testimony. And then once that's done, we'll have the board ask any questions they have. And then finally, Mr. Gatchett and you will have a chance to give a closing argument. Okay? All right, very good. Mr. Gatchett? And I'm sorry to interrupt you. One last time, I apologize for this. I need to establish a quorum for the record. So if I could have the board members identify themselves for the record, starting with Board Member Shea.
Yeah, Kitman Chan,
Dr. Amy Mateki,
Ruben Osorio.
Jeannie Kang.
And let the record reflect that a quorum is established pursuant to Business and Professions Code, Section 4933, Subdivision C, with Dr. Mateki and Member Kong serving as the licensed members. All right, Mr. Gatchett.
Early stage.
If I could have you just state and spell your full name for the record, please.
Christine Brothers, Kristine Brothers.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Gatchett?
The California Acupuncture Board,
And how long have you been employed with that agency?
9 years.
And in California Acupuncture Board, what is your current assignment?
I'm the enforcement coordinator with the board, so all of the complaints that come in, I process those. Desk investigations, they get assigned for investigation. And I also process the discipline and monitor the licensees that are placed on probation.
And so you work as a practice monitor as well?
Correct.
How many
22.
and what does that monitoring consist of?
So I have to familiarize myself with the terms and conditions of their decision and order. I will hold an initial telephonic orientation going over all of the requirements. I have to ensure that they are compliant. I review the plans that they submit in order to comply with their terms and conditions, and I conduct quarterly reviews.
GJ Wayne,
Yes.
and how are you familiar with him?
I have read over his decision and order. I'm familiar with his underlying criminal case, and I'm familiar with the level of compliance that he has.
And are you
Yes. Yes.
in terms of his billing monitor,
Yes, he is.
and did you have a chance to speak with his billing monitor?
Yes, I did.
What did his billing monitor?
He had said that they meet every 2 weeks, and during their meetings, he checks medical reports, insurance company billings. He verifies that he notifies his patients that he's on probation. He reviews approximately 5 patient files per week, and he reported that he has a good filing system. He expressed that he doesn't have any concerns he's compliant, and that he feels that he'll be honest and follow all of the rules after he's off of probation.
And
Yes, he has.
owe you money to the board?
No costs were ordered in his decision. Yes, he did.
Is he in a
Yes.
Mr. Wang, do you have any questions for Ms. Brothers?
No, I do not.
Do any of the board members have any questions for Ms. Brothers? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much, Ms. Brothers. You're excused as a witness. Mr. Gatchett, did you have any other witnesses?
No, I just asked.
Okay, the exhibits will be marked for identification as indicated by Mr. Gatchett on the record. Mr. Wang, do you have any objection to exhibits 1 through 12 being admitted?
No, I do not.
Okay, exhibits 1 through 12 are admitted.
And also, we had a report of interview that I provided to the board, which is what Ms. Brothers just talked about with the billing monitor. I'd ask that be marked as Exhibit 13 for identification.
Okay, that report is so marked. Mr. Wang, any objection to exhibit 13?
No, I do not.
13 is admitted?
That underpins this case. licensee has complied with
Thank you, Mr. Gadget. All right, Mr. Wang, now's your opportunity to provide your testimony. If I could first have you stand and raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth. Please have a seat. And, sir, if you'd start off by stating and spelling your full name for the record, please.
Name is Wang Jiajie. It's spelled Jiajiewang.
Thank you. And then, sir, whenever you're ready, you may provide your testimony.
Honorable Judge, all board members of the Acupuncture Board,
感谢你们 的案子。
I thank you for devoting your precious time to allow me to make I hereby make a request for early termination of my probation.
这假释期是在2014年7月。
And my probation was granted on July the 25th, 2014.
监督执行的。
And it was also monitored by the Acupuncture Board.
现在已经3年过去了，
3 years have passed since that time.
完成了
In a little over two years, I've completed all the conditions put on me by the Acupuncture Board,
300个小时的道德伦理和
including 300 years of class 300 hours. I'm sorry. 300个300小时，300 hours,
100个小时的义工，
and also 100 hours of community service,
还有
billing monitor,
规定，
and all the other probation requirements.
包括付清了所有的 Medicare 和税务。
Also paying off all the penalties owed to the franchise board and 还有
共计6万块钱，
altogether over $60,000. 还有这税务 all the penalties.
法规的情况，
Like to invite the board to examine all the elements of the requirements that I've made. You can refer to all the materials I've supplied to.
我从2003年犯罪之后，再也没有任何
Since 2003, when my offense took place, I have not engaged in
方的、州立的和当地的犯罪记录。
any federal, state, or local laws.
华人针灸工会
Chinese Acupuncture Association, I have served as Secretary General for over 10 years.
是完全免费的义务，
Well, it is a volunteer job without any pay.
我希望
I'd like to serve as a model for all the other members.
犯错，
Well, if you're human, you're bound to make mistakes.
但是面对所犯的错误，
But how do we face the mistakes that we've made?
我本人认为我们应该
I am of the opinion that I need to confront those mistakes head on,
并正确的面对自己的错误，
face up to those mistakes,
并从认识和行动上
make corrections on those mistakes both in action and in
再重犯。
and commit to never offend again.
我在利用改正错误和学习的和反思的过程，
Through a process of reflection, of re-examination of my,
更加认真的完善自我。
I like to attempt to improve myself. So that I can avoid making similar mistakes in the future, either shortcomings,
使我们专业的服务社会。
so that we can professionally and in terms of career offer our services to the community.
我已经为那次错误付出了极其
I have paid a heavy price for the mistakes that I've made.
花费的时间、精力、金钱等，
Heavy price in terms of money and in terms of my time and effort.
我不想在任何时候再重犯那些不应该发生的错误。
I have committed to never making the same mistakes, so that I will, whether it's intentional or unintentional.
我已经70多岁了，
I'm over 70 years old now.
我的有生之年变了，
I have limited days for the remainder.
希望自己能够尽早的步出阴影，
I would like to step out from under the shadow of my past,
施展自己的专业技术来造福于社会。
offer my professional expertise and services to the society.
我感谢也请求理事会和法官大人
I thank and I also make the request to Your Honor and to the rest of
改正错误的决心，
to take a look at my resolution to make amends for my mistakes,
行动和速度，
and also to look at my action and the speed. My very positive attitude to undertaking that task.
重新考虑
Consider my probation period and to shorten it
提前终止。
so that you can terminate it early.
向法官和理事会保证，
I will make a guarantee to Your Honor and to the rest of the board
我绝对再也不会在今后再犯下这种不应该。
that henceforward I will never make the mistake that I should not have made to begin with. Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you, members of the Acupuncture Board.
Mr. Getchik, cross-examination.
Good afternoon, sir. What mistake did you make?
这个我犯的错误呢，我认识我的错误是严重。
Go into details.
I would like you to explain to the board what mistake you made, because I think it's important for the board to hear from you and say what happened.
究竟犯了什么错误？
2003年
In 2003,
04年的时候，
2004,
我把我的 provider number 号码
I gave my provider number
错误的让一些
I let take my friends to use it.
他们自己也有 provider number 号码，
They had their own provider numbers,
但是骗我说大家组成一个中西结合，
but they duped me into believing that together form a East-West joint association of health providers.
这个团队来治疗他们老年中心的病人。
Of the
把他们报来的每次账单，我都正常的报税。
so even though they provided me that I would also tax filings,
但他们却向 Medicare 和这个税务局的，
and they also made false reports to export.
而且都是用我一个人的 provider，
All used only my provider number,
是我承担所有的损失。
so that I alone bear the sole responsibility. Because they did not use their provider numbers.
所以我意识到是自己的失误。
So that was my mistake. That was my oversight.
刑事律师劝我对2项轻罪。
Thanks to the I arrived at a resolution of 2
方便的态度。
order to
我原来有8项罪，其前
even though they were originally 6 counts, they had all
帮别人去犯罪。
so I committed a crime for others.
第二个是把不应该去这个抵税的
Other offense was that $1,000 I need to pay. But of course, I did not realize that a no contest plea was
但是现在已经说已经晚了，
But now that the matter is over,
我只会对自己的错误供认不讳，
so I fully admit to the mistake,
而且采取积极的态度去改正这些错误。
and I would take a positive attitude to make amends for that mistake,
保证今后不再发现，不再
so
发生
that
这些
so
错
that
误。
I can ensure that not happen in the future,
就我自己的承担了这些错误的后果，
and I take full responsibility out of the mistake that I've made.
向自己的那些私人朋友借了6万块钱，就还给了政府，不让
So-
政府受损失。
I borrowed money from my friends in the amount of over 60, so that the government will not suffer any loss.
我在今后的这个业务上呢，
Work, practice, I hope to be able to repay.
Get any money out of this?
在这件事里头，你有没有赚到钱呢？
没有赚到钱。
No, I did not.
So you gave your provider number to other people and they didn't pay you anything?
那就是说你给了别人你的 provider number，而且他们没有给你任何的报酬。
对，
That's correct.
The corporation documents were mentioned in the decision that you were the sole employee and medical director of Happy Life Clinic. Was that incorrect?
Clinic 说是你是那个 Happy Life Clinic 表示说你是唯一的一个。I don't understand your question.
Okay, and I'll rephrase it. So in looking at the decision, it mentioned that Happy Life Clinic was
Happy Life
created, a
Clinic.
corporation was created by you to operate as your acupuncture clinic, and that's
是一
paragraph
个
11
针
of the
灸的这
decision.
个
And that
医
you
疗
were
所。
the only employee
它
and the sole officer
里
of the
头表示
corporation,
说
holding the
你是
title of
唯一
president
的
and
一个雇
secretary.
员。
Is
那
that
是
correct?
那是正确的吗？ I'm not quite sure what you're asking me.
Did anybody else work for you at Happy Life Clinic?
在那个 Happy Life Clinic 有没有人为你工作呢？
没
是你的
Happy
雇
Life
员呢
是我的，
？That's mine.
Right. Were there any acupuncturists working for you or any other people working for you at
还
that
有
clinic?
没有其他的针灸师是在那里工作的呢？
我当初就是他们要 group 中西结合 group，
At the beginning, yeah, I was asked by them to form this group, this East-West medical
对
group,
就502那个group，
It's according to the 502 rules. So I joined.
对，所以里面有一些
That
医生
effort，
就是一些中医针灸医师嘛，他们
There
就
were other acupuncturists
这些老资格的，比我老得多了。
who were more qualified than
我
I,
当
who
初是
who were
才
more
开诊
senior to
所，
me,
我当时才开诊所，
who were more senior to me.
And
所以我加入了，我就加入了。
So I was invited to join, and I did.
他们说要用我的，因为我是最老资格的中医在里面。
I was the Chinese medical practitioner, and so my provider number was used.
要有我的 provider number 号码，
So they told me that they needed my provider.
他们说他们的 provider number 号码去申请还没下来，
They told me that they also applied for their own provider number, but they had not been issued.
而且他们说其他中西结合诊所都是这样做的。
And they told me that the other organizations had the same practice.
当时我英文也不好，
My English is not good.
我才开诊所，
I only recently opened.
我对这些法规啊、法律啊，我都是严肃性和它的严重性，我都
So the seriousness and the solemnity of those rules and regulations.
他们就用了
So
我的 provider number。
I had my trust in them.
其实他们都有 provider number 号码，
But actually, I found out that they all had their own provider numbers.
对这一点。
yeah, did you lose your Medi-Cal privileges?
那你的那个 Medi-Cal 的所有的这个，就是那个
You still have your provider number.
你还有你的 provider number. Yes, it's still there.
So you can still bill under Medi-Cal.
就是说你还是可以继续上单给那个 Medi-Cal 的。
啊，现在我不知道了。
I
现在
don't
现在
know.
因为
Because the acupuncture board no longer covers acupuncture.
所以我一直
So I have not filed any billings.
There was a part about this that during the investigation, DHCS
在调
went
查
to
的时
your
候，
site
这
in
个
February of
针灸所
2006 on 3
在
separate occasions for
2006
site
年
visits, and there were no
他去
patients present at your clinic, despite
看
the
你的
fact
这个
that in the period of time between December of 2005 and February of 2006, it was reported that you had billed the Medi-Cal for services of 3,036 patients. Were you billing any Medi-Cal patients during that time, or was it just these other people that had your provider number?
你有没有就向 Medi-Cal 提出？当然，就是因为在2005年的年底到上市账单给 Medi-Cal 是3000多。I don't remember.
Were the people that were using your provider number, were they at your clinic or were they at different clinics?
那些 他们是在你的那个做呢，还是他们自己在别的
他们自己诊所，
？They worked at their own clinics.
他们有自己的
They had their own billing companies to help them submit.
And now your billing practices today, you're not receiving Medi-Cal, you stated. How else do you receive income into your business?
那你现在既然不再就给账单， You're asking me about now currently?
Currently, how do you get paid?
你是
打广告，我是有
I
很多
I make no ad. I publicize no ads,
我都是介绍病人，一些老
and
病
it's
人
by
来看
word of mouth that my patients would refer people to me.
我从
I have been in this business for well over 5 decades.
我也救了很多人的命，
I have saved a lot of lives,
所以很多病人这些，他们经常把一些很疑难杂，
and my patients have all shown their trust in me. So the most naughty ailments and problems that they have, they would refer people to me.
That's why you get paid. I'm curious how you get paid. So are you getting paid
Are you
are you getting paid cash? Are you getting paid insurance? How are you getting money? How do you
说
bring
为
in
什么
income?
有人要给你看？问你的就是你是如何收钱的？是你是收现金吗？还是要给账单给什么人？ Some patients would pay with cash, and some have insurance.
Insurance is private insurance?
那是就是私人的这个保险吗
对，
？Yes, that's correct.
And if you could roughly just give us an approximation percentage-wise.
啊，
In your practice right now, what percentage of patients pay with cash and what percentage of patients
病
pay with
人
insurance?
有多少就是百分计，就多少是用现给现金，多少是用对的。
哦，我现在病人比较少，
I have few patients now,
而且我都有 monitor billing 来监督我。
and I'm being supervised and monitored by my monitor billing.
我的所有病人他都要看过病历，
So all of them, my patients, they have to have actually been seen by me. 就是说比例，就是说多少人给你现金，有多少。
包括支票吗？
Does cash include checks too?
Yeah, cashes include checks too.
对，包括支票。
但是他们80%都是这个
Well, about
20%
80% of the payment made to me is from insurance,
20%到30%，大概是
and between 20 and 30%
Yeah.
by cash.
刷卡。
Or they use their credit card, swipe their card.
So what I'm just rephrasing to ask you here is so 20 to 30%
就是
are cash
2成到
patients
3成
and
是
then
用
probably
现金，
70 to
大概是
80% are
7
insurance
成到
patients.
8成是用保险。Correct.
And in the insurance patients, you're asking the board to terminate your probation early. Right now, you're under monitoring to ensure that there's no billing irregularities with the insurance patients. I'm less concerned with the cash patients. With
就
the
不管你
insurance
的现
patients,
金方面了，
if
这个
your
我要
probation
问
is
你的，就
terminated,
是
how are you going to promise the board that there won't be future insurance problems
现
based
在他
on you
们
being
终
an
止你的
insurance
这
carrier
个
for private
这
insurance?
是 patient 的话，你是如何向证据局保证说你以后不会有同样的这个错误的来
教训呢，
？Because of the lessons I've learned,
给我非常沉重。
a very serious blow to me.
而且呢，我也已经在我已经花费了很多的时间精力。
I've used up a lot of my effort, my time, and my money. Suffer a lot of mental anguish and pressure.
可以说我受到的惩罚已经10年了。
I think I've suffered my punishment for close to 10 years now.
所以我 这个教训是很沉重的，
So this is a very heavy lesson for me.
而且呢，我通过了学习，
And through my studies
这就对我的教育也是
and
很
also the lessons given me by the board,
也很必要的。
which I consider to be
我也非常
necessary.
感谢政教局对我的惩罚，
And I'm thankful to the punishment levied against me by the board.
也是我深入学习的一个过程。
It's a lesson that I learned in my life.
我认识到我原来错误的严重性和严肃性，
I realized the seriousness and the solemnness of my offense.
所以我不会再犯。
So I will never make that mistake again.
另外一方面，我
Also,
我在
additionally,
针灸学会里面，我华人针灸学会里面，我担任秘书长10多年了。
and I've served as Secretary General of this Chinese Acupuncture Association.
而且很多会员医生都把我当成是个模范。
And a lot of the acupuncturists of the association regard me as their model.
所以我要做到真正的模范，
I would like to serve as a true model for them.
我要汲取以前的教训，
And I, of course, would observe the lesson that I've learned.
所以我绝不会再犯。
I will never
That's the way
make
to
the same mistake. I will not offend again.
You'd never have someone use your provider number again,
那
correct?
就说你绝对以后不会让别人用你的 provider
绝对
number.
不会，打死都不会
Absolutely not. At the pain of death.
我不是
It's not because for the sake of money that I gave others my number.
是他们弄了个陷阱让我跳下去的。
A trap that they laid for me, and I fell right in.
通过学习，
But through my studies,
接受了再教育，
and through my re-education,
我认识到了这个，也了解了这些法规法律的这个比较全面的东西。
I realized the full impact of and the intention of all these very stringent rules and regulations.
I know that you come back to that you state that you were duped by these other individuals. The administrative law judge that heard your case actually made a credibility determination at paragraph 20 in the decision. And basically stated that based on your education and experience, it wasn't very credible that you were duped in this
你是
scheme.
被受骗的。
Do you have anything to say about that?
对他的这个结论有什么？他认为你是不是被骗？
对他的法官大人，以前那个法官大人的判决，我就没有话说了，对不对
Well,？I have nothing to say against what that administrative judge has decreed.
我只认识到我是错了，我是
But
犯
I
了错，
recognize my mistake.
而且这个错误
I've done something wrong,
是很严重的，
and it's a serious mistake.
也是很严肃的。
And it's, of course, a solemn
是不应该的。
offense. It shouldn't have happened.
但对于我来说，我就应该检查自己。
So I should examine myself.
我是一个基督徒，
I am a Christian,
我就要应该谦卑自己，
so I should humble myself.
要认错，
I have to
要改正错误，
admit my
重新做
mistake,
人。
and I have to, of course, make amends on those mistakes and recognize the mistake.
I have enough further questions.
话要说了。
Right, Mr. Wong, is there anything further you'd like to say on your behalf?
没有了，
No,
谢谢大家。
thank you very much.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Gadget, did you say that the administrative law judge at the time of the hearing said that he, based upon what evidence he provided, that he wasn't credible?
He finds that law judge made a finding that was
上次那个
And so when you say dupe, meaning like it was the other providers, he was blaming it on them.
that is correct.
Okay, that was his defense, that he was blaming some other people for his being duped.
Right.
And the judge did not find that credible.
Right. That's what I was pointing out in the decision, yes.
May I speak?
Sure, go ahead.
我自己承担了所有的错误，
I admit to all the mistakes that have been made.
因为 我的律师呢就跟我讲，只要
But my lawyer told me,
Yeah.
advised me
不争辩，
that I should not contest.
不能对，不争辩，你就把这个案子就结束了，没有问题了。所以
And that by doing that, everything will be okay. It will be resolved.
所以我不去争辩。
That's why I did not offer any contest to the charges.
也是，如果我要是当时我不知道这个这个认罪就是这个就是认罪就是有罪的话，那我当时我就不会。
I had realized that a no contest plea was the same as a guilty plea, that I may not have admitted to the guilt.
我也认识到，确实这些事情会对国家造成影响，不好。
But of course, I later recognized that such matters would have an adverse effect on the country.
自己对法规法律认识不足，
I lacked a thorough understanding of the law and the regulations.
所以我承担我自己的错误，
So I admit to this mistake.
我认错，
I confess.
但是我用行动积极坚定的把它改正错误。
And I will use my own actions to correct those mistakes.
我不怪任何人，
I'm not putting the blame on anyone else.
只怪我。
Christina, did he comply all this condition and during this probation period?
Director, Ms. Brothers has approached back to council table.
Sorry, just to reiterate, you're asking me, has he complied with all of the terms of his probation?
Yeah.
Yes, he's satisfied basically all of the special terms of his probation. Yes.
Thank you.
When was he supposed to be terminated? He's asking for early termination. When was it supposed to be terminated?
It's for 5 years, so I believe it's July 25th, 2019.
2 more years.
Yeah.
Does he recognize that this is a criminal offense? This is not just, gross negligence, but this is a criminal offense to the state of California and the federal government.
Yes, I know that.
And yet you want to be and you still want to be terminated early. Why? Why aren't you not wanting to carry out your full termination period? If you know the severity and the seriousness of this offense, why are you asking for early termination?
Because according to the regulations of the Acupuncture Board,
我这个案件呢已经是消除掉了，
this
消案了。
criminal offense is done with. It's over.
而且按照
It
证据
is?
局的法规，
And according to the regulations of the Acupuncture Board,
假释期超过3年的，
any probation period over 3 years
都可以提前结束，我就完成
can
了。
be terminated early.
我现在已经是3年了，
And 3 years have passed.
所以按照证据局法规的时候，我可
So
以
according
申
to
请提
the
前。
regulations, I am entitled to petition.
Then I would like to ask either Mr. Gatchett or Christian Brothers who can answer it. I understand Mr. Wong wants early termination, but the judge obviously felt that 5 years was the term in which he felt was appropriate for this severity of illegal action, criminal illegal action. Is that correct?
Documents, we have Exhibit 6, which is separate from, that did terminate on May 19th, 2016. Yes, I would agree with that statement that you made that law judge is an appropriate. Board probation was 5 years. That was the term that this board was the appropriate.
So the criminal case was over in 2016,
That is correct.
and the previous acupuncture board decided for 5 years of probation.
In 2014, yes,
Right, so that's not over until 2019.
that is correct.
Okay. Okay.
Are there any further questions from the board? Hearing none, Mr. Gatchett, if you'd like to make your closing argument.
The attorney petitioner has shown he is a good with all of his probation terms. I think there is still yes, I understand what I did was wrong, but it's their fault. And so, but that he could petition. I will submit that.
暂时不让他立刻的。Can I say something more?
Yes, Mr. Wong, your closing statement.
I'm petitioning for early termination of my probation.
而且这个假
Basically, it's not because
为了
it
病
is for
人的权
myself.
益，
It is for the
Not because
interest.
of what you both of you are talking, I can't understand.
It's not for my own benefit. It is for the benefit of my patients.
因为我这个就假设现在来呢，这个
And so, as long as I'm under probation, I cannot bill the government agencies so that the patients will not be able to enjoy practice. So they will be denied
So you-
that practice.
为保证病人的权益，
So in order to protect the rights of my patients,
所以我
I am requesting that termination of my probation so that I can better serve the society.
Mr. Wong,
而且我已经沉痛的认识到自己错误，
I painfully am aware of the mistakes that I've made,
我已经什么都不计较，也不去争辩，我
and
坚决改正，
I make no further pleadings of my innocence.
我以最快的速度，对不对？大的诚意，
I use my earnestness and at the earliest possible, in the shortest possible time,
来认识错误，改正错误。
to make amends for all those mistakes.
而且我在进行300个小时的这个学
So
习，
the 300 hours of lessons that I've taken on administration of clinics and also on moral education,
花费了很多这个精力，
I've used a lot of
语言的障碍。
efforts to overcome all the demands, including linguistic difficulties.
所以我政治
So
局的领导
I would very much like to favorably grant my petition. I'm over 70 years old now.
而且我最重要的是，我从03这个错误是03年犯，
So this mistake was made back in 2003,
到现在14年了，我从来没犯。
14 years, and ever since that time, I've not made the same mistake again.
现在不会犯，
And it won't happen now,
以后将来也绝对
and
不会
it will not happen in the future.
did you I just want to make sure I heard this correctly. So the early termination that you're asking for right now is not for your behalf, but you want it for the behalf of your patients. Is that what you just said earlier?
是的，
Yes.
So you want us to make a determination whether we're going to release you from the termination based upon you wanting to go back and serve your patient because you can't bill at this time?
就是因为你现在不能提出，就是 I'm not quite sure if I followed
So
what you said.
because I'm trying to have clarification right now. Can you or can you not bill insurance at this time?
现在能不能就是向保险公司提？向保险公司。Yes, I can.
Okay. So what I didn't understand earlier was that you said you want us to release you from an early termination because not on your behalf, but on the behalf of your patients.
病人的权益。
对。
It's for my sake and also for the benefit of my patients, but the latter would be more relevant.
So you think that it's more relevant that we release this real early termination on your patient's behalf?
为了你的病人。
Because if you can already bill, what's the point? I don't understand. If you already can bill
因为
your
你提出
patients,
保险公司
I don't understand your statement.
这样的要求了，所以我不明白你的意思是什么。
Because, go ahead.
I'm not quite sure if I understood what you're saying.
Well, something that concerned me earlier, what you said, was that you want us to terminate this,
说你希
you
望
want us to release you from the early termination, not on your behalf,
是为了你，
but on the behalf of the
为了
patients.
你的病人。
But why is that true? If you already can bill right now,
向保险
you're already getting paid. So why is it for the patient?
到就是保险公司。
I don't understand your logic.
所以呢，我也不明白你。Actually, these are two different matters.
I'm going by what you just said.
可是我只是跟着你的这个逻辑来。
也
I'm
许
sorry,
我没说清楚。
maybe I didn't explain it well.
Well, I'm only going by the translation because I can't understand Chinese.
因为我听不懂中文，我只是听翻译员的翻译而已。
哦
OK,
就是说我想也是为了我，
of course, it's also for my sake
因为这个我一直在笼罩在这个阴影里边，
because I've been under this shadow
我
all this
想
time.
尽早的走出这个阴影，
I'd like to step outside of this shadow
让我更好的来为大家服务。
so that I can better serve the community.
另外一方面呢，
And on the other hand,
那个提前终止假设呢，
an early termination of my probation
我可以去购买物医保险，
will allow me to purchase
就是为病人的这个
it's not from private insurance companies but from
是这
government.
个
But you just said that the Medi-Cal does not apply anymore because Medi-Cal does not cover acupuncture benefits anymore in the state of California. So what does that matter at this point?
就是不包括那个针灸的了，所以为什么跟政府的这个
不是
no no no
物医保险知道？
物医是什么
每个针灸医生要买的一个保险。
？So it's a maybe malpractice
对
insurance.
，yes，对
Malpractice insurance, which every acupuncturist needs to purchase.
Yeah.
No, it's not true. In the state of California, there's no mandate that we have to purchase
不是
malpractice. We just do. But it's not a mandate that we
这
do.
个硬性的规定，不是说每个针灸师都需要买。
这个保险呢，就是为病人的。
But this insurance policy is for the patients
你如果没有这个保险的话，你诊所人家都不会租给你。
because without this insurance, people will not even rent you place to run the clinic.
Yeah.
啊
这个所以这个保险很重要的。
So this this insurance policy is very important.
这个跟保险公司，我们报的保险公司不。
It has nothing to do with the insurance companies that we bill.
So I'm sorry, let me just, because I understand Mandarin very clearly, so let me just added here. I think you have the question because he doesn't even bill to the Medi-Cal why he needed to get his, probation removed. So sounds like the malpractice.
That was not my question. That was not my question. The intent
So
of-
let me see, because right now, sounds like, let me just ask you also,
问你
if
直接问
you didn't remove this probation, what does that have to do with the malpractice insurance here?
就是说，如果你的这个 不提前终止的话，那为什么对你的误医这个保险是有影响
他们拒绝付。
？Because they refuse to pay.
我好多年了是跟他们申请都拒绝付。
For many years, I tried to apply for it, but they refused.
So basically right now, you can't get a malpractice insurance.
说你现在不可以买误医的这个保险。That's correct.
So this is where you want to get probation.
所以呢，你才
Remove.
现在申请就提前。
Does Mr. Wong understand that
另外一个方面呢，就是我也把所有的
Also,
而且我也把这个证据局要求对我的这个假设的条件。
I have fulfilled all the requirements imposed upon me by the Acupuncture Board.
Does Mr. Huang understand that there is no mandate that we must have malpractice insurance in the state of California? We have it,
误医
but it's not mandated.
当然有人会买，可是不是硬性。
I mean, legal counsel could correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
对，但是呢，
However,
你要去租诊所，
when you rent a place to run your clinic,
要去申请其他医疗方面的东西 benefit，
when you want to apply for other benefits related to your practice,
他们都要求看你的这个
they all
买的
require
对这个保险。
that you have malpractice insurance.
Does he have an office at this time?
现在有没有诊所呢？
我有啊，
Okay, so then why is he trying to open another office where he needs the malpractice insurance
还有
for?
另外一个诊所吗？
因为我以前我有这个买的这个，
Well, previously I have purchased malpractice insurance,
所以人家就没有问我这样。
so they no longer require me to prove it every time.
如果我要是再去开其他诊所的话，
But
那
if
就
I should open another clinic,
就一定要这个东西。
then they insist on it.
I guess the intent in which I was asking the question was that you're the one that broke the law here. And you're the one we're trying to reinstate. And yet you say to us that you're not the one that you're doing this for, but you're doing it for the patients. If you understood that, then why did you break the law in the beginning? If you understood the importance of abiding the law for your patients, why did you break the law in the first place?
为什么你是这
Because you have 2 more years before the reinstatement period is automatically going to happen. You're asking for a reinstatement 2 years prior to this period, and I find that what you're saying is confusing to me.
我以前10年前犯这个错犯这个罪，
14 years ago, I violated the law
是因为我对这些法律法规
because of my lack of thorough understanding of these laws and regulations.
没有认识到这个事情的严重性。
I was not aware of the seriousness
和
of
严
this
肃性。
matter and the solemnness of it.
通过学习，
Through my studies,
通过证据局要我去学的那些内容，
through the content of the classes that I have been required to take by the board,
我认识到自己错误的严重性
I realized the seriousness of my mistake.
是不可原谅的，
It's unforgivable,
也不可能是再犯的。
and it should not be committed again.
这是我现在的认识，
This is my understanding
以前
now.
没有认识到。
Previously, there was no such
以
understanding.
后碰到这些问题，
So if I encounter similar problems in the future,
我就会用我现在所掌握的这些法律知识，
I will apply the understanding of the law that I have now
坚决给予抵制。
to reject go with any such practice.
Right now, as Mr. Gatchett stated, even the criminal record is finished in 2016. The previous acupuncture board gave a 5-year probation. So right now, as sitting in the acupuncture board, I'm wondering why we should give a early termination at this time when the previous board decided for a 5-year probation and we have 2 more years left. And I understand you finished the criminal record part, but I'm still trying to figure out, from what you're saying, I'm not clear if, as Mr. Gatchett said, the full remorse is here.
I use my actual actions,
I lose what?
my actual actions, my
You
concrete
lose-
actions.
我已经用我的实际行动，在最短的时间内，
shortest period of time
来完成了政救局所对我的各项惩
to
罚，
complete all the punishments that the board has imposed on me.
而且毫无怨言，
And I never complained.
而且还积极的去问私人借的钱6万块钱，
And I borrowed money from others in the amount of $60,000
尽快的把政府的罚款也都还
to
掉。
repay all the fines imposed on me by the government.
所以我认为呢，我在这个假设条件里面，我
Therefore-
每项我都完成了。
Under the provisions of the probation that the board has imposed upon me, I have met all of them.
是
And the board also has stipulations or provisions
2年、3年以上的假设，
that would allow, after serving a probationary period of 3 years,
可以在2年以后
that after 2 years I could apply
申请提早
for early termination.
终止。
So in accordance with this provision,
让我尽早的走出这个。
that would allow me to step out of this shadow as early as possible,
更好的为社会做出。
so that I can better serve society. And
In what way would he like to better serve society?
那你是如何对社会提出更好的服务？ Now I will continue to serve as Secretary General of my Acupuncture Association.
所以我要
I need to showcase the principles that I now adhere to,
更好的为病员服务。而且在工会里面，因为我是秘书长，很多会员他就会来问很多法律问题，我都可以把。
At the association, there are a lot of members who would come to me to ask for clarification of those laws and regulations, and I will use
把自己的经验教训告诉他们，
so that I can apply my experience, share it with them,
对，让这些新的、老的针灸医师的法律和法
so
规。
that both new and old acupuncturists can together follow those same laws and regulations.
而且我现在已经是这样在做，
I'm doing that right now.
这个呢也可以从我的这个会长梁医师这个文件这边有。
And this can also be evidenced in the letter written by Dr. Liang,
对，也
the president of the association,
和这个理事会的
also the of the board, Dr. Nie
他们的一个 doctor
Dr. Nie Zhongbing,
聂中斌，
Niezhongbin.
这个文件里面有 这个
It's in
文件
one of the documents. And they concurred in my petition to ask for early termination in their letter.
他们的作证就可以证明我这十几年来，
They attest to the fact that over the last 10 years, I have been very serious in correcting my mistakes.
而且在
Intention to serve as a good model.
And just for the record, the doctor's name spelled N-I-E, last name is Z-H-O-N-G-B-I-N.
Okay. Does the organization that he's the Secretary General at, this CAMA, C-A-M-A, does the organization know that he's on probation and that he had criminal charges against him?
那就是说，你虽然是
我的表现，人家因为我的这个表现，人家并不是认为我是犯罪分子。
because of my good performance, people do not regard me as a criminal.
No, I'm not saying he's a criminal, but does the organization that he is serving as Secretary General know that he's on a 5-year probation from the Acupuncture Board and that he was also, a probation for the criminal record for 3 years? Does the organization that he belongs to, do they know that?
他们知不知道你有犯罪的这个
Yes or
上
no?
面的这个？
这个
他们知道吗？
网上都可以查得出来。
They know because they can also find out on the internet.
Okay.
而且
They can
政
find
府
out.
局也规定，每个病人来看我，我都要告诉病人。
And also the acupuncture board requires me to make known of this fact to every patient that I see.
Right.
I have to inform them
假设期在，
that I'm still on probation.
我认为不隐瞒自己的错误，勇于改正错误。
I'm resolved to not conceal my mistake, fess up to it,
一定会得到大家谅解的。
and I will get the forgiveness of.
而且行动是最重要的，
Of course, action is most important.
大家都看我的行动，
Everybody can see my
看我的作为，
action, my behavior,
看我的表现。
performance.
所以虽然我有这件事情，
So even though I was involved with
但
this,
是
many association members still support me.
The reason why I asked the question because he mentioned that I want to be a model for my society. And so I wanted to know what that meant, what he meant by being a model of a community and how he's going to better serve society. I wanted to have clarification on that.
所以凡人都会犯错误，
Well, it's human to err.
但犯错误不可怕。
Making a mistake is not the most horrible thing.
中国人说党一致，
Chinese proverb says that if you make a mistake, you will increase in your wisdom.
一个人可贵的是能够认识错误、改正错误。
It is precious for someone to recognize the mistake and then make amends on it,
再不犯，重复犯那个以前的
and to
错误，
avoid making the same mistake.
就是
And it's a good person,
就会
and will earn people's sympathy and support.
Are there any further questions from the board? No, we went a little out of order. Mr. Gatchett, did you, since there was additional testimony, were there more questions you had? Okay, Mr. Wong, do you wish to give a closing argument?
我认错，
It's not a matter of remorse. I recognize my mistake.
我认错，改正错误，
I make amends on.
以后
I
坚决
correct those mistakes,
以后坚决不会再。
and I'm resolved to not to commit it again. So I would like to Mr. Attorney General, you should be confident that's what I'll do.
也请法官大人和在座的所有政治局。
So you can have trust in me, Your Honor, and all other members. Commit that same mistake again.
All right, thank you. So the record's closed, the matter's submitted, and we're off the record. So Mr. Wong, what happens now is later on the board will meet in closed session to issue a decision. So you won't receive one today. You'll receive one later in the future. The court reporter will have a form for you in just one moment, and that's in case you want a copy of today's transcript. Okay, and once you get that, you're free to leave, and I wish you good luck. So let's go ahead and go to the next matter, which is the matter for Yu Tai Fu. All right, let's go ahead and go back on the record. We're on the record before the Acupuncture Board for the state of California in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Yu Tai Fu. It's agency case number PRRL-1A-2017-90, OAH number 2017-060-435. My name is Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. May I take the appearances of counsel, starting with counsel for the Attorney General's office.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. John Gatchett, GAT.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, and members of the board.
Ms. Johnston, it's my understanding that you've discussed with your client continuing this matter to the next board meeting due to the time of the day. Okay, thank you. So this matter will be continued, and then staff will set it and send notice to you. Okay? And then the court reporter, when we go off the record shortly, will have a court reporter form for you. Thank you very much. We're off the record. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the final matter on calendar, which is the matter for Paul Slitters. We're back on the record before the Acupuncture Board for the state of California in the matter of the petition for early termination or modification of probation of Paul A. Slitters. It's agency case number PETP-1A-2010-145, OAH number 2017-060-436. My name is Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. Can I take the appearance for the Attorney General's office, please?
Gatchett, Attorney General's office, GAT.
Good afternoon. And sir, are you Paul Slitters? Yes, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Slitters, I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning of the matter two matters ago, but in case you weren't, just as a procedural matter, what will happen is Mr. Gatchett will provide a summary overview of the matter and then introduce some documents. I see Ms. Brothers sitting next to him, so are you going to testify? So Ms. Brothers will testify. Mr. Slitters, you'll have an opportunity to ask her any questions if you have any, and then I'll give the board a chance to ask questions if they have any. And then after her testimony, you'll have an opportunity to testify yourself. And Mr. Gatchett will have a chance to ask you questions. I'll give you another chance to testify if there's anything else you want to add, and then the board will have an opportunity to ask you questions. And after that's done, each party will have a chance to present a closing argument. Okay? So, Mr. Gatchett, whenever you're ready.
So, we're following. Five of the
Just 1 second, please. I need to establish a quorum. So if I could have the members identify themselves for the record, starting with Mr. Shea.
Dr. Amy Mateki,
Ruben Osorio,
Jeannie Kang.
Let the record reflect that a quorum is established pursuant to Business and Professions Code 4933 Subdivision C, with President Mateki and Member Kong as the licensed members. All right, Mr. Gatchett, if you'd like to proceed.
yeah. Five are letters of recommendation. Exhibit pages long and has
The exhibits will be marked for identification as read into the record by Mr. Gatchett. Mr. Slitters, any objection to exhibits 1 through 15? Those exhibits are admitted.
Gotcha. I have up to exhibit 12, and then what you just handed me right now, but I don't see any pictures or exhibit 13 or 14. I don't see it. Where is it? I don't have it.
Okay, Mr. Gatchett, your first witness.
Call Ms. Brothers.
Brothers, if I could have you stand and raise your hand. Right. All right, if you'd start by stating and spelling your full name for the record, please.
Bean Brothers, Kristine Brothers.
Mr. Gatchett,
For the California Acupuncture Board,
And how long have you worked for that agency?
9 years.
What agencies did you work for before you worked for the Acupuncture Board?
I didn't work for any other DCA boards, but I worked for the Department of Boating and Waterways.
Acupuncture Board, what's your current?
I'm the enforcement coordinator with the board.
And what is that?
Processing complaints, assigning complaints for investigation, conducting desk investigations, processing discipline, and serving as a probation monitor for licensees placed on probation.
What's a probation monitor do?
We receive the decision and order and read over that, and then we conduct a telephonic orientation in the beginning to explain the terms of the probation to the probationer. We ensure compliance by reviewing plans that they submit to comply with the requirements, and we conduct quarterly reviews.
Paul Slitters?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with him?
I have read over his decision and order, and I'm also familiar with his criminal case. Yes, I'm also familiar with the terms of his probation.
And that's
Okay, yes.
all right. Criminal case now complete.
Yes.
And when was that?
It was last year. I don't have the exact date. I don't actually have the exact date in the record. I just know that it's last year that it concluded.
And you're relying on
That's correct. So he owes, or he was ordered to pay $10,000. We have an agreed payment plan of $175 per month, and his current balance is $6,750.
Okay, to be clear,
Correct.
okay, that's the 10,000.
Yes.
Okay, he doesn't pay.
No, he was not ordered to pay any probation monitoring costs.
Approximately $6,750.
Correct.
Compliance with his current probation term?
Yes.
Did you have a chance?
Yes, I spoke to his practice monitor.
Okay, practice monitor, I'm sorry, you're the probation.
Yeah.
Practice monitor, what did the practice monitor have to say about his?
She said that they meet at least once a week. They also see each other in passing as they work in the same building. She indicated that she has not sat through an actual treatment, but has inspected his treatment rooms, and they're well kept. He practices clean needle technique. She observed Mr. Slitter's interaction with patients and says he's very professional. She doesn't have any concerns over his emotional or mental state. And she feels that he takes really good care of himself and has a good support system. And she's never observed any signs of any mental instability. She feels that he's compliant with the laws and regulations.
Did you also have a chance to speak to him?
Yes.
And
From my understanding, they work in a group setting together, and she's a medical Qigong therapist. None. Correct.
aside from paying back
Not currently. In the past, his psychotherapist got off on the reports that he had to submit monthly. But then, he corrected that when it was brought to his attention. And then, of course, the actual payment plan, which is not part of the order, but an agreed payment plan with the board, he's gotten off on. Correct. That is correct. Sorry, I do what page?
page
How much is that amount again, Mr. Gatchett?
$5,560, but that was as of April 14th.
So this isn't a record provided by me.
This is a record that you received from.
Correct.
Okay. Which was a few times. Other terms that he's out of compliance.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and so all other terms he's in compliance on.
Correct.
I have no further questions.
Hey, Mr. Sliders, do you have any questions for Ms. Brothers? Hey, do the board members have any questions?
So right now does he still owe $10,000? No.
His balance is
The
$6,750.
$6,750 is the balance, and there's an agreement that he's going to pay $175 per month.
Correct.
And then he owes a psychotherapist, as of April 14, 2017, $5,560.
Are there any other questions by the board? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Brothers, you're excused. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gadget, the previous board had the probation, and when was that due date of the probation? I know he wants early probation, but when is the due date of the original acupuncture board's probation? 2019 of what?
January 16, 2019.
Mr. Gatchett, any further witnesses?
No.
Okay, Mr. Sliders, now's your opportunity to testify. I just wanted to remind you that the board's focus today is on rehabilitation, so rehashing the underlying events isn't particularly helpful. I know in explaining rehabilitation, it may be necessary to talk about the underlying events, so it's okay to talk about them in relation to your rehabilitation. So if I could have you stand and raise your right hand, please. Have a seat, and if you would start by stating and spelling your full name for the record, please.
Sorry, Dders. Did you catch that all?
Okay, Mr. Sliders, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, board members. I'm very happy to be here eventually to meet you and communicate. I've appreciated being able to practice, even though I had a very significant event occur in 2010. I have taken it very, very seriously, and immediately after that, a particular event, which the doctors that I've mentioned in my paperwork, three of them, Dr. Singh, who I've worked with for 7 years, and two other, one forensic psychologist and another doctor of psychology who've analyzed me thoroughly over the course of a long period of time, all suggested I underwent a manic episode on that day, which ended up in a psychosis, where I ended up injuring one of my best friends on that day. Just to clarify, we weren't camping, we were actually walking in a park, and my behavior became aberrant, and I became out of control, completely out of control, and it literally felt like I didn't have control over my own body that day. So since that's never happened before in the past, and has never occurred after that event, particularly because of the psychiatric and psychological care I've had with professionals, and also the stability of my family and friends, I've managed to rebuild my life and get the appropriate treatment so I can live a life which is full and have a good career. Just to dive in a little bit, right after that event, I was taken to jail, and once I was released on bail, I immediately, and this was of my own volition, I put myself in emergency care at SF Psychiatric because I was beginning to comprehend the gravity of what's just occurred, even though just days before, or a week before I ended up in the mental hospital, I literally didn't know what had happened. It was very hard for me to have any recollection of the events. From there, I went to a longer stayed facility for 2 weeks, and then I was released from there, and then I ended up in the court system for a whole year under some pretty significant criminal charges, which we eventually resolved with 3 months home detention. No jail time was suggested by the judge because he believed the reports of the doctors suggesting that I had suffered from a mental breakdown that day, brought on by acute stress, and also there was dehydration involved. Regardless, I was not sent to jail. I was given home detention, which was a godsend in a sense. I thought I was going to jail. I didn't know what was going to happen. Since even during the home detention, I was under the care of Dr. Singh, and I have been for 7 years. And you have the documents here. I think it's on page 41. Thus far, I believe it's about 240 hours of therapy I've received, which is, a good amount. I'm appreciative for the board to have released that requirement. I know Dr. Singh didn't think I needed any more therapy. And Dr. Singh is both a psychiatrist, he does prescribe medication, and he does psychotherapy. He's a trained Jungian analyst with great credentials. And working with him for 7 years has really brought to light a lot of issues in my psychology, maybe from my childhood and other events that we have worked on, to get a firm understanding of why these events occurred, what the triggers were, how to avoid the triggers, and I believe that we've been very successful in that. I would like to point out it has been a significant amount of treatment. 7 years of psychoanalysis is quite a lot for anybody to undergo. At the same time, I recognize the events were serious enough to signify that should occur. The criminal complaint with the state of California, that was part of their probation too. So I did 5 years with the state of California. I finished that probation in July of 2016, and then wanted to bring my petition to this board because I believe that I'm capable and able of being stable, having created a support network and gotten clarity about my own psychology, and obviously this bipolar event needs to be carefully monitored, and I think that myself, my doctor, and doctors and family and friends and colleagues are all well aware. A lot of my close circle is aware of what occurred, and they're all very supportive of monitoring me, and we have plans. If there was any unusual behavior that would occur, there's a plan to do something about that. However, since treatment began in 2010, I'm happy to say there's been no recurrence. Dr. Singh mentioned this to me, after the event itself and then being in jail and then going through court for a year were very heavy stressors, and a recurrence of mental illnesses can be brought on by significant stress. And I'd have to say I've been under significant stress ever since 2010, partially because of the tragic event that occurred, and I injured my friend, and then it was so out of character I didn't even recognize myself, and so I had to rebuild a relationship with myself. I needed to get healing and therapy, and I needed to rebuild my life. And I just recently graduated from acupuncture school in 2008 and had a significant financial, I did it all through student loans, so I had at the end of that a significant debt, and I paid for some of my school on credit cards. So basically, after the event and the court situation and the fees associated with this scenario, I've been, I would say, financially, I've been in financial hardship for a long, long time, and I've been trying my hardest to get my life back on track, have a career, but first and foremost, recognize what happened, resolve that issue, and that's the first and foremost thing, and then try to rebuild my life. What's been difficult is the people that know me don't even understand this when I tell them. My colleagues, they go, "Wow, this doesn't represent you at all, or how you are." we can't imagine this would occur. And so I have to revisit this story as part of the stipulations in my probation. For me to have a job, I need to obviously have a monitor and to work with in a collaborative setting. So I have to bring this story to the forefront each and every time when I try to get a job or find a place to work. And as I said, I've been in dire financial need for a long time, and if it wasn't for my family and friends, I would have probably fallen through the cracks. At the same time, my goal is to stay healthy and to have a successful career. I believe that I've worked in the healing arts for actually since 1997, and I graduated from acupuncture school in 2008, and I want to continue working. And at this point, I believe I'm ready to move forward. This does affect my reputation, the probation on the California Acupuncture Board site, and then also there's newspaper articles outlining what occurred in 2010. And so it's very, very hard to get away from the past, in the sense that if people read that information or they become aware of these stories, it's hard to have a living. And the only reason I've been able to have a living is because of colleagues like Dr. Grandel and Qian Wang and Kristen Swagels. They've been godsends too to help me through this troubling time. At this point, I would like to have my probation terminated, and the financial obligation, while I realize the financial penalty is important, I would like you to consider that this is also partially a medical illness that I suffered from. And while I recognize I did it, it was me, I'm still in great financial hardship. And so I'm wondering if there's any way that it can be reduced or changed. As Christine Brothers said, there's been a few times that I've not been able to make the $175 payment. Dr. Singh has been paid over $30,000 over the last 7 years, and I owe him about $6,000 at this point, and have developed a payment plan with him, and we're working on it with the help of my family. So that's what I'm requesting at this time, and I'd like to end with that. Thank you.
Cross-examination, Mr. Gatchett.
I have associates in arts from Santa Barbara City College. I have a bachelor's in communications from UCSB, both granted with honors. I received my master's degree in traditional Chinese medicine from the Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine College in Berkeley in 2008. All my degrees were granted with honors. I've always prided myself on being a good student. I'm also a certified yoga teacher. I'm a certified massage therapist, and have many other credentials as well. I don't know if you want all the details. I was working for another I was doing massage therapy while I was in school with a chiropractor in Oakland. I did that for about 7 years. Before that, I had a little stint in Starbucks doing some coffee, but that was a part-time job. And before that, I was teaching yoga and doing massage therapy in San Francisco. That was 4 years. I'd taken a new job in San Francisco at a place called Sen Spa, and I think I was already stressed out getting out of school and being in debt, and then I was performing at a new job And I was working a lot of hours, seeing a lot of patients, and it probably wasn't the right situation for me for work, but I did it anyway. And the stress was building up. I started having difficulty sleeping and even eating regularly, and found myself having kind of just losing touch with reality a little bit. Not significantly to the point where it was obvious to other people, but I felt a little odd. I didn't know what it was. And that probably occurred a week, maybe, a week up to that event. And those symptoms continued to increase until the fateful day. I'd left my work at that point. I know there were, in some of the documents that have been shared back and forth with Deputy Attorney General Ashley Harland, there was some confusion around where I was before the event. And I have an affidavit here from my friend who was there on that day, and I was not at my work at that day. I'd left my work because I was feeling unwell, and my friends came and picked me up at my house. I'm happy to submit that to the board at this point if you'd like. Did I answer your full question?
Well, yeah. You had an event that occurred, or you had a lot of...
No, I was not. Previous to that time, about probably 6 months before, I had a pretty significant breakup, and my girlfriend at the time had an abortion, which I didn't agree with her decision. So that was stressful, yeah. Not to my knowledge. Not Dr. Singh was the first one to properly diagnose this.
Dr. Singh diagnosed you with a mental illness?
Yes, he did.
And what is that?
He said it was bipolar 1.
Now finished treatment for bipolar.
I finished treatment last month. I am not.
Have you taken any?
Yes, I have.
And what medication?
Lithium, Klonopin, Valium. I didn't take Klonopin and Valium at the same time. Those were used more for acute stress events, like going to the court, when it was very stressful in those days. And lithium was more of a longer-term antipsychotic drug that was used to bring me out of psychosis, or even beginning mania, hypomania.
Okay, let's talk about lithium. How long were you on lithium for?
I was on lithium for about 2 years.
Used more for acute?
5 years ago.
Approximately for 5 years, you haven't taken any medication?
No, not at all. The plan is to contact my parents, and because they're very they obviously know the history of this story, and I've stayed with them during hard times, and they're very supportive of me. There would be a communication with Dr. Singh, and there would be, depending on the behaviors, either a referral to psych center, or the worst case scenario would be 911 is called if there was a problem.
Past 7 years.
No, I do not.
And
No, I do not.
do you take any other medication?
Just Chinese herbs from time to time. I have a very vigorous exercise regime. I play tennis, I surf, I take yoga classes, I run, I bicycle. So a lot of my stress is put into my actual career work where I see patients. I do a lot of massage therapy, Tuina specifically, so it's a pretty rigorous work day for me. And then if I have extra energy left over, I'll go practice any discipline. Also dancing is another one I do.
Longer seeing Dr. Singh, what are the things?
I have a very solid meditation practice, which I've been doing for quite a long period of time. And so I have meditation breathing practice that I do every day. And then I'm also learning Qigong from Qian Wang, my colleague. Those are my two primary things that I practice every day. I think that if the history proves correct, I've been compliant with my probation. I have followed my doctor's advice for 7 years, and all the letters of recommendation from my colleagues and patients, I think accurately depict who I am, and that I have a very strong support network, and I'm committed to my overall health, and I'm committed to living a healthy life for myself and my work in the world. That's what I'm committed to. I hope that comes across. Yes.
What would that be?
Right now, it's hard for me to create the ideal working situation because there are certain constraints in the way I can practice. And as I said, the information on the website, like that I'm on probation, if people check me up there and then end up in, say, the old news stories about that event, I can lose patients or work that way without ever seeing the client. Also, developing referral networks is challenging when they know that I'm, if I tell them I'm on probation or I tell them my history. It's just been difficult to rebuild my reputation while there's all this information out there. I'd like to be able to shift that focus. And for me, part of my business is reputation. And so the current place I'm working right now is in the State of California building in Santa Barbara. There's no, the suite was built by Qian Wang. Her initial center, and then Kristen Swagels works there, and I work there, and some other practitioners have worked there too. But the building is isolated. There's no signage out front. There's nothing really attracting people to come to that space. And I'm in a position where it's challenging for me to move to new spaces or create new work environments because of my current situation on probation and some of the other information out there. And so I would like to be able to expand my practice and grow as a practitioner and serve the community and promote my services. And at the same time, it's hard for me to do that with the reputation from the past. Or develop, like I've been able to develop new relationships, but it's not been easy. I have to basically tell this story over and over again, which is hard. Current balance is $6,025. No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you pay the practice? Ms. Swiggles?
No, I do not.
Approximately how much do you earn on gross receipts?
Gross receipts probably $2,000 to $2,500. My expenses right now are probably about $35,000 to $4,000. Family help.
Friend. So a patient would be, someone that you don't have a good friendship relationship with.
The situation in 2010, as I explained, had a significant workup. The stress levels, insomnia, losing track of reality, not eating proper schedule. My foundation of my day is routine. I have a lot of people around me who know my stories. I see them every day. My parents and I communicate very regularly. And I work in a collaborative setting, and I plan to always work in a collaborative setting because I think it's beneficial for patients to have group setting practice. That's what I like to work in. My promise to you is any colleague that I work with will know my history in the situation. That's been the case. And thus far, over the last 7 years, this occurrence has never happened again. And I've had a lot of care, and I value Dr. Singh's opinion. He's written many reports to signify that there is insight, there is a plan, and that my colleagues have spoken out to say that I'm a safe person to be around, and they've never seen anything that would signify something different. And at the same time, just in case, I am working with other people every day. So if any behavior was abnormal and they know the history, I think the plan would move forward. But as I tried to explain, it didn't go from 0 to 100 in the course of 1 hour. There was a significant build-up to that experience when that occurred. Can I just say one more thing?
You can, but just before, so I don't forget, you mentioned having one or more documents you'd like to provide to the board.
Oh, yes.
So if you'd like to do that at this time.
I mean, I have another. Is that good?
Yes. So the affidavit of Sean, S-H-A-W-N, Duyette, D-U-Y-E-T-T-E, will be marked as Exhibit 16 for identification. Mr. Gatchett, is there any objection to 16? Sure.
And then your friend went through and
Yeah, it seemed, from my perspective and Sean's, who was one of my friends that was there on the day of the event, that the conclusions that Point of Life, a number of conclusions that Michelle Kong de Alberto from Points of Life made were actually false. It's a really good question, but
probably likely relying.
that may be a fair statement. Yeah.
Okay, so friend, and that you're stating that
I'm not trying to challenge the police reports. I'm simply saying that one thing that Michelle Kongdi Alberto said was that my friends picked me up for my job, which was not true. The reason I brought this up is simply to say that this situation, while it happened and it was tragic, was not in a work environment. This was actually out in a park, and was not patient related, is what I was saying. One conclusion she makes is that she says, my future communication with patients and colleagues would be compromised as a result of what occurred because I was near my work. And I was clearly not near my work. That's the only reason I brought it up.
okay, and that's what.
That's all. Yeah.
You don't have much memory from that, or do you?
I do, but I do have memory before I wouldn't say it's not like I have complete memory. I remember being at work, I remember leaving work. The moments of the psychosis in the park where the event occurred is very difficult for me to recall all of it. But I think that was the peak moment. Before that, I was still thinking.
I mean, you understand.
It seemed like a pretty significant conclusion that she made, that around my future capacity to communicate with patients and colleagues would be compromised. That's what I take. I don't think that's true. And my colleagues and my patients, and there's many recommendations from my colleagues and patients who would completely disagree with that characterization.
So it's not just the fact that she maybe is.
Correct.
You have the option of actually going to hearing on this case, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you.
That's correct.
So you didn't challenge that.
I just thought the board would like to know. I don't know if they read that or if they ever saw that opinion. And so I just wanted to make sure that was put to rest. I'm not interested in trying to rehash the case, no.
All right, 16 submitted. Mr. Sliders, you indicated you had additional testimony you'd like to provide?
Did I? Oh, that's right. I did.
Yes.
And it slipped out of my mind for now, so it might pop back in my.
Okay. So you have nothing further at this time?
Not right now.
Okay, any questions by the board?
I have a question regarding to your finance. You asked the board to reduce or terminate the fine, and do you get any okay from your psychiatrist doctor, the bill you owe, or what's your plan after you get reinstated? How you had a 3 to 4,000 expenses, and how much? What's your long-term financial plan to cover to make you stand up?
Mhm.
And because this is financial pressure is going to affect your ability in your practice.
Right, I completely agree. I believe one of the stipulations is that I'm not allowed to teach continuing education and I'm not allowed to supervise trainees. And one of my greatest skills as a practitioner is my capacity to teach classes. And so that part of my capacity to reach more people and teach them the things I've learned through yoga, tuina, and my own personal practice has been put on hold for a long time. Right now, I've been trying to build my reputation as one thing, but also starting completely from scratch. Twice, actually, since I've been in Santa Barbara, because I worked with Dr. Grandel, hip practice, where all the referrals were coming through his practice that's been there for over 7 years. Then when I moved offices with Chian and Kristen, there's not a lot of patient flow. And in fact, out of all of them, I'm generating a lot of word of mouth at this point. Like, things are moving in a positive direction, but they can be much better once I'm able to teach.
When did you graduate acupuncture school?
I believe it was the end of 2007 and got my license in February of 2008.
All right, are there any further questions from the board?
The location that you are at now, you have said a couple of times now that there's no signage outside and you're not able to advertise yourself. Is that correct?
Not very well. Is this the ideal situation for my practice to grow? No.
One of the earlier things you said was that the information that's on the internet and the article that was written about you, that has affected you, and the fact that your name is on the acupuncture board website. The website information could be taken down, but whether or not we give this early termination, the information on the internet is not going to go away. You understand that?
Right, but there are ways to mitigate that over time with proper optimization of searching and getting more reputation through other organizations, for example. So building relationships with other organizations, say it is Santa Barbara Independent Newspaper or UCSB is developing a wellness program. Once I have more of those kinds of relationships established, that information, it may not vanish. It is affecting me, yeah. And in fact,
you're currently aware and have understanding that you have lost referral patients because of the internet information and because of probation information?
It's actually impossible to know.
Okay.
Because if the patient doesn't come, they don't come.
Okay.
But it's nowadays most people do a little research before they show up, or that's what people do.
Okay. I've been in the profession for 20 years, and I have seen the internet access play a positive and a negative role for practitioners, and it takes many years before there's so much information that some patients, there's like 9-10 pages of information on a page on a practitioner. That's years and years of articles and information that's written out there, and that could change at some point. But information that it doesn't disappear. It's just harder to find for them. Maybe it's at page 10 or 11 of the internet, not necessarily page 2. However, it doesn't go away. So whether we give my point is whether we give an early termination in a month, in a 1 year or 2 year period, it's not going to make a big difference on your livelihood at this time. So that's one point. The other point is you asked for, like what Kidman just mentioned, you asked for a reduction of payment because of due to hardship, and I understand the cycle that's caused by this. However, we're here listening to many cases, and in your case, I mean, you did not harm a patient, you harmed a friend, and it was a manic episode, and I fully understand that. So I see that there is a lot of financial issues in the situation, and there's a $6,750 balance that's due, and then looks like currently now it's $6,025 owed to Dr. Singh. This is a huge financial burden to you as you are in hardship, and yet I find myself thinking you want a reduction on it. Part of me understands that you want a reduction on this, and then part of me wants to say this money is owed to the state of California based upon what happened. We're not here to punish. We're here to see, as far as reinstatement or rehabilitation, as Judge Wong said. But it's almost like there's a fine line between, you paying back this money is part of you accepting the situation that you were in. Okay. And asking for a reduction or elimination of that doesn't seem like there's a full understanding of the severity of the situation. And as Mr. Gatchett mentioned, this new document that you brought to us that challenges the expert witness that was hired by the acupuncture board doesn't seem like there's a full admittance of what really happened here. That concerns me. What we go by is the records that is in front of us, also by the expert witnesses that have been hired by the acupuncture board. I may have not been present, but the written information is what we go by. And to bring something last minute that goes counter to the evidence that the expert went through to give us the report seems like not only are you asking for a financial reduction or elimination, but you're also asking us to look at documentation that goes back and reverses what expert witnesses that was hired by the acupuncture board has written up. So what is your what part of this are you willing to own to really show us that you really want the early termination? Because it's still 2019, it's like 1 or 2 more years, but I'm not seeing like a full admittance of, I guess the word everybody uses is remorse. I mean, this document goes again, challenges what has already been submitted, by the expert witness that the acupuncture board hired, and asking for the reduction. Although I understand the financial hardship, are you fully owning what really happened here and how that could affect future practice, future relationship with your patients? And I understand for 5 years nothing has happened, and that's great, and I commend you for that. Your meditation practice, your qigong practice, you're going to all the psychiatric evaluation. I commend you for doing all that. But we have to look at you having this license for the next 40 years, next 30 years, or what have you. And today I need to know, like, what are you owning?
I'm sorry that came across like I'm trying to challenge. I don't want to speak too much about it, and I totally see your point. I just did not know. I didn't actually try to challenge Michelle personally. I didn't write an affidavit. My friend did. I think he was trying to protect me, and maybe that's why I handed it over. I don't know if you saw that. It was kind of a sentiment from my friend to try and help, and so I felt that. I completely see your point about the money. You did mention there'd been 5 years, like that nothing's happened. No, it's been over 7 years that nothing's happened. I feel deeply remorseful. I've lived with this for quite a while now, and I've gone through many levels of emotion around this, and trying to heal my relationship and trust with myself, and having lost my friend, who's tried to reach out and contact me, but it's against the law for me to reach out and contact him. And so I feel terrible about what happened.
You haven't had closure with him? You haven't had
No, no.
haven't been able to have closure with him because you're not allowed to contact him.
Correct.
And he has not contacted you.
Tried to contact me.
Oh, he has tried to contact
Yeah.
you. Okay. And can you share with us the reason why he's trying to contact you?
I have no idea. I don't know. We were best friends. I mean, it's hard to just switch that off. He was actually in acupuncture school with me at one point. He didn't finish, but just to go back to the money part, I recognize the cost recovery part. It's a request, not a demand. It would be nice to have a little bit of help, but I understand if that's not appropriate, and I will take that burden on, and I will do my best to get my practice in order. That's my goal. So the reason I'm asking in the first place is because I'm actually in a significant amount of debt from not just student loans, but other things that have occurred as a result of all these experiences. But I'll take it all on if there's no assistance. I was just asking because I could. There was people to ask.
You know, we as board members are in a very precarious situation of having to ask the hard questions and asking questions that require you to do some soul searching, because this really is protecting the public. And I've asked very similar questions to all the people that were in your seat today, and it may sound harsh, but it's also on behalf of the patients and the patient's protection and the consumer protection that I have to ask these questions, as a responsible board member. In this situation, I don't know what we'll decide on, but the financial burden, I think, is something that is particular to this case, and I'm sure when we go into closed session, we will discuss further.
Thank you.
Great. Are there any further questions from the board? Hearing none, Mr. Gatchett, if you'd like to give your closing argument.
Early termination of probation. but a significant.
Mr. Sliders, your closing argument?
Honorable Judge and board members, again, thank you for the opportunity to communicate my story and what happened, and I hope I've given some clarity around my rehabilitation, and that I've made every effort to create a safe environment for my patients, to create a safe environment for myself and my colleagues and my family, working together. My close family and friends know me very well. I have a broad network of friends that I'm around regularly. I'm not isolated. People know my story. I do not believe I'm a danger to my patients at this point. Dr. Singh has provided a great deal of documentation of 7 years of treatment, beginning right at the beginning and with psychiatric care, and then psychotherapy for a good portion of time. And so I hope that comes across. Please, I plead ignorance as far as providing the affidavit, only because it was just for me, it was just a feeling of providing information that you may have not had. It wasn't supposed to come off as an aggressive tactic or trying to change some ruling, not at all. So I hope that you'll forgive me for my legal lack of skill. If I'd known the way that he would characterize it, I would have never brought it. I didn't think it was going to have that kind of an impact, so I apologize for that. And again, thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. So the record's closed, the matter's submitted, and we're off the record. So Mr. Sliders, as I mentioned at the beginning, the board will not be issuing a decision today, but will meet in closed session, and then a decision will be issued by mail sometime in the future. And then Mr. Gatchett just handed you the court reporter billing sheet. That's in case you want a copy of today's transcript that has the information you need to go about ordering it. With that, you're free to leave, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.